Hey, a little bit of glory of love, glory of love. Somebody asked me to play that, so that's why I was starting the show with it. You can always ask, by the way, if you'd like me to try and play something. I'll always do my best to do that. And feel free to do that in any future episodes and stuff like that. I'm going to say some hellos in a minute. I want to make sure I play a few tunes because last week there was so much talking, there wasn't really any time for a whole lot of playing. And unfortunately today I'm not in a position to do a whole load of playing because my wrist is not as good as it could be, and I'm a little bit worried about that. So more of that later. I'm just going to try and do what I can, and then we're going to kind of come back to that kind of thing, and we're going to have a little catch up and a bit of a chat. Yeah, I'm sitting on this old stump, baby, and I got a worried mind. Yeah, I'm sitting on this old stump, baby. Lord knows I got a worried mind. Yeah, I won't find my baby, Lord, or I'll lose my life trying. Yeah, I shot $5, caught a point blank 9. Yeah, I shot $5, caught a point blank 9. Yeah, I stopped that 6-bar, babe, and that tree come flying. Yeah, I hear my hamstrings are popping and my collar's crying. Yeah, I hear my hamstrings are popping and I hear my collar crying. Now I can't stay happy, Lord, when my baby's down the line. Yeah, you never get to do me like you did my buddy Shine. No, you'll never get to do me like you did my buddy Shine. You know, you worked him down the levee till he went stone blind. Yeah, a little bit of Big Bill Brunsey there for you folks. So how are you all doing? It's great to catch up with you. Thank you very, very much indeed for joining me this evening. Hopefully there are some people here with me tonight. Let's have a little peep. We've got John Hassan from Spain, We've got Wolfman from London. We've got Terry Cook, and we've got Scott Hartley. We've got, let's see who else we've got. I've probably missed a few of you guys already. Okay, so John Ellison and Jonathan Impens from Iran. So we got like people from all over the globe, and this is no surprise because this audience is growing and growing and growing thanks to all of you lot, really, spreading the word, and just more people, I guess, coming through the videos perhaps on YouTube and stuff like that. So we've also got Andrew Marriott, okay, it is good to be here, and we have Pat, very, very nice to see you, Pat Murphy, wonder who you are, and we have Jeff from Hedge End, great to see you too, Jeff, and YouTube Erin. So we've got quite a lot of people. Anybody I haven't mentioned, quickly type me a message, and before I move on, I'll say a quick hello to you. And we've got Gary Curtis and we've got Paul Hilliker, who are regulars now. Super Ring of Fire with a little bit of beers going on there. And yeah, so maybe that's it. I'm not sure if there's anybody I haven't mentioned already, but it's great. And we've got Patrice as well. Patrice, great to have you with us again. I can recognize you now. You've been with us before. And of course, Marco, and we have Leo. Great to see you too, Leo. So I think I've covered a lot of you there, and anybody I've missed, hopefully I'll get around to saying something towards the end to say hello to you or something like that. And we have Julie Flower. Hey, that's great to see you too, Julie. And we've got Clive Oliver, which is nice. So there's a lot of people here, some new faces, some older faces. I'm Colleen. Hey, great to see you, Colleen. And Kev Love. Hey, Kev, great to see you. Thanks for your messages and things like that. Hopefully that little bit of advice helped you. And Scott is in Minneapolis. I nearly got that one correct. And Stuart Rushton as well. Okay, so then let us see what we're going to talk about. There's a few things I want to bring to you this week. Now, last week, you'll be aware that we talked quite a bit about practice. So if you have any existing questions about practice, then, hey, Sal, great to see you. You're very welcome as well for the Facebook replies. And Randall in Austin, Texas as well. Lovely to have you with us also, okay? Predrag, been a while since I caught up with you. Lovely to have you on board as well. So we've got a whole crowd of people here tonight. So I'm going to focus a little bit more on the show now. Like I say, anybody I've forgotten, I'll try and come back towards the end because the time always seems to beat us with the show. So hopefully some of those pointers I gave you last week about practice were of help to you because, like I said, it's such a huge, huge part of your playing that it's important to try and get that right. And, you know, if you have the right kind of regime in place, then the likelihood is that you're going to kind of progress at the rate you would like to, which is very, very important. You see, if we don't have the correct practice regime, then what can happen is we can kind of become disenfranchised with the guitar a little bit, you know, and not be so keen, and we lose our mojo, essentially, for playing and things. And that can be as a direct result of not really maybe having the right practice regime. And I touched on it, last week by saying that if we ever try and reach too high, it's something to avoid because it can not only set us back, and like I pointed out last week, this is something that I'm guilty of as well in my earlier years, that I would occasionally try and play things which in retrospect were far above where I was at. So I think that's, hey Leopold, good to see you, and Rizky, very good as well. Okay, the third important things beginners must do: strumming, chord transitions, and timing, YouTube Erin, okay? So thanks for reminding me of that. We had some kind of things for beginners which are very, very important, as Erin's just pointed out there. So it's strumming is obviously one of those things that I don't always touch on because it is something that we have to educate our ears to do. And if we never do that, we're always going to be reliant on other people to tell us, and that is not something we want to do. So we have the strumming, chord transitions extremely important, and spending time just going from one chord to another and just being able to comfortably run through chords. It's important to just start at a pace that you can manage, but the important thing to do with the guitar is to always challenge yourself. Sometimes what can happen is that we think, okay, I'll practice the chord transitions 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. And we do that, and that's good in itself. But we don't just want to sit around there doing that all the time. Once we can do that, then we, as I said last week, we have to continually challenge ourselves, and that way we're going to be accelerating the learning process, and it will all happen a whole lot quicker for you. So I do hope, if you're still struggling with that and you're still unsure about certain practice regimes, then you can go back to the last Joe show and rewatch that. That's over on YouTube, so you can do that, and it's well worth a watch if you didn't catch it. So another thing I wanted to take a look at is that quite a few of the people who watch my videos and things are of a certain age whereby their hands and their wrists don't perform like they used to. Okay, now not everybody's young, me included. And so I'm always keen to try and help people who are struggling with ailments, let's say, but really trying their best to play the guitar. And I really want to do something to help you folks out there who fall into that category. Now, I've had quite a lot of correspondence from people who have expressed this difficulty with either not being able to press hard enough on the left hand, and just generally having a little bit of tension, or having arthritis, or having issues with the wrists and the hands. Now, just to give you a brief outline of my situation, I was diagnosed with arthritis a few years back. Now, I've been very, very fortunate because I've managed it very, very well, so as not to be struck down by it any more than I need to be. And I have a fairly strict regime. Now, as it happens, I've got a little bit of a bad wrist at the moment, so I'm not going to overdo anything too much on the guitar today. We're going to do a few things, but I just can't afford, because that for me is a sign. Now, if any of you people fall into that category where you have issues, it's always very, very important to listen to your body, obviously. And if something's saying this isn't right, then it's not a great idea to force the issue. Okay? So what I'm going to run through are a little bit of a stretching workout for people who have arthritis or any other issues with their hands. Okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to put our hands in front of us like this. Now, if you're young and flexible and you're full of the joys of spring, then you're going to be okay. But for us older folks, we need to do some of this stuff, okay? So what you do first off is you hold your hands out like so. This is what I've found to be really, really helpful, okay? And do this before I get going on a serious session. Try and do it on a daily basis. So we hold our hands like so. So that's kind of as far as I can push them back on themselves. Then we push them forward like so, like this. Okay, so that's just from this position right the way back to this position right the way forward. Then we bring them back up and we kind of rotate them as best we can, like so. So we rotate them a few times, and then we come back to this position. We tuck our thumbs in, we make a fist, and we go down, and again we rotate as best we can, like so. And this is something, if I injure my wrist through too much playing or something like that, one thing I cannot do is tuck my thumb in and do that. That's generally the thing which will hurt me most. So if I do this on a daily basis, and anybody else who's suffering does these kind of things, then you might find that it kind of eases things up. So it's just a little workout. It's very straightforward, very simple. As you see, hands up, hands down, swivel around like so as best you can. I can hear this wrist clicking because of the issues. Okay, And that's that. As I say, tuck in the thumbs, point them down, and rotate. Okay, so I wanted to just do a little something for the folks who are having difficulties in that regard. Okay, so hopefully that will help some of you. Now let me just adjust the camera a second because it's been bugging me. It's not quite right. Hold on. I'm hoping that's okay. How's that now? I hope I've got that right. Have I? Let's have a little look and see what's going on. Because there's a little bit of a delay, you see, so that's a little bit difficult. Okay, so now another thing I wanted to talk about, I've been getting quite a lot of questions about. Yeah, yoga's good as well, by the way. Jeff's just made a point there about yoga and things like that. So yoga is a great thing to be able to do. I mean, I do yoga just in my everyday life. More kind of stretching than yoga, but it really, really does help as the years tick by. You know, we're just not as supple and as agile as we can be. Now, there's another point that I want to address because, again, I've had a lot of correspondence. And for those of you who are part of the Facebook group, you'll know that there's been a post going there which was started by Palmer, which was in relation to having spells on the guitar where we just don't feel motivated. Now, this is something I especially wanted to address. And so there are two ways that we can deal with this issue. And it could be that you employ both of these methods rather than just one specifically. Now, the important thing is that we all have periods where we just don't feel like we have our mojo for playing the guitar. And we seem to lose it, we just don't have that inspiration, as it were, and that desire to pick it up and play. Now, it is important to think about why that might be. For example, I was going back to you about practicing and things like that. If it's for the reason that you are trying to practice something which is way too difficult for you, then that could certainly put you in the mood of thinking, no, I don't really want to pick up the guitar, because you're anticipating what's going to happen, which is you're going to pick it up for half an hour, you're going to struggle on something that you can't play. And so it kind of speaks for itself. So this is why it's very, very important for you to not fall into that trap, and then you can just rule that out of that equation as being one of the reasons. Now, if you graduate your learning, like I touched on last week, so if you're never really playing something, or should I say, if you're learning songs which you can kind of get together in a few days, then that's a good place to be, because what it means is the turnover is happening frequently and you feel like you're making very good progress on that basis. If you're stuck practicing something for a month and you're not making any headway, it's a sure sign you're not ready for it. So once we've ruled those reasons out the way, it's quite permissible for you to think to just lose your mojo and not particularly feel like playing. And this is fine. Sometimes it's good to go with that and just have a little bit of a break. It could be a couple of days, it could be a day, it could be a few days. And sometimes we can come back very revived and inspired and much more interested. So that can kind of work for you if you take a break from things sometimes. Now, of course, there is another school of thinking, which I belong to, which is, I say I belong to because I never really put the guitar down for very, very long. I play a hell of a lot of guitar, if I'm being perfectly honest with you. And so this second point interested me. I read about it somewhere. And the basic philosophy of it is that when you feel in this mood that you don't really have your mojo and going and you don't really feel inspired to play much, then pick up your guitar anyway and just play. Because what can happen is that as soon as you pick it up and you start playing, you're taken to another place. All that thing about, oh, I don't feel like, and everything else, it's just kind of gone, because you're wrapped up in what you're doing. And this is building a very good habit, because what you're doing is you're taking that situation of not particularly feeling like playing, and every time that comes over you, you still pick up the guitar. Well, it's like any other habit. If you consistently pick up your guitar in that situation, you're gonna very quickly find that you're just carried away and you're back into your practice regime. Now, of course, there will be instances where you pick it up and you think, I don't know why I bothered picking it up because nothing much is happening. That's fine. But the point is that you're making some inroads on breaking this habit, which I think is kind of relatively important, because the way I looked at this was that there was just simply so much I wanted to achieve on the guitar that I just simply couldn't be somebody who just put the guitar down for a week. You know, it was not going to happen because there's so much I want to do. So this second point of picking the guitar up when you're not feeling inspired can be overcome, and you can turn that from a kind of negative thing into a positive thing. So you've broken this habit and you've turned it into quite a positive thing. So does that make sense? Let me see, you know, if you kind of agree or disagree. It's always interesting to know these things. I mean, I know what I think, and that's what I think irrespective of what anybody else thinks, you know, because it's something that's tried and tested for me. So that's what I'm thinking about that. Top tips, yeah, Paul seems to agree with that. That also works with exercise programs, GT. Yeah, I mean, this is, I think it's a kind of philosophy, that second point. I've probably read it in something like that, I would imagine. But so you have those two options, and I should also say that, of course, there is a time for putting the guitar down and just maybe leaving it a little while. But you don't want that to become the dominating force. Okay, that's all I would say. Okay, so I've got a couple of little practice things for you to think about. You beginners, okay? And intermediate players, just in case there's no saying that you've done this, okay? So what we're going to do is I'm going to show you how to play a basic major scale. Now, I don't want you to all go to sleep. It's just it's going to help you in a number of ways. It's going to help your left hand agility, and it's going to help your right hand picking. Now, what I'd like you to do when I show you this scale is to use the plectrum, going down, up, 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 rather than going down, 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 down on a string. So if any of you aspire to playing lead guitar, this is very important. So if you fall into the trap of you're very much one of these down people when it comes to single note stuff, it's in your interest to try and break that habit. Now, a major scale is very easy to play on the guitar. So what I'd like you to do, if you've got your guitars handy, I'm guessing, you know, some of you have your guitars handy. I hope so. You should know by now, you should have your guitar handy and your pen and paper for these little notes. It's good to have a little guitar book. I have several, you know, and so it's a great idea to have that. And you can just you can just note down some of these pearls of wisdom that I'm giving you here. You know, I said it last week, I think, they seem the simplest things on the face of it, but after 40 years of playing, they're the most valuable things I can pass on to you. You know, much more so than showing you some kind of fancy solo. These points are worth listening to. Okay, so that's all I can say. So we're going to go to the 5th fret. We're going to put our middle finger on the 5th fret, 6th string. Now, for those of you who don't know, that's an A. That note is an A. So you might find some of these stretches a little bit difficult, but it's important to persevere. So we're on the 5th fret, middle finger, 6th string. We're going to play a downstroke. Then we're going to put our little finger on the 7th fret. Now, I know some of you are going to struggle with that, but just struggle. Okay, it will get easier. And we're going to do an upstroke. Okay. Then, so that's 5 and 7, yeah? So we're going down and up on that string there. Now we're moving down to the next string. We're going to playing on the 4th fret, 5th string. We're back to a downstroke. Then the 5th fret, and this is all on the 5th string, and then the little finger again goes on the 7th fret. So that's 5 notes we've played so far. Hopefully, you know, that's not too difficult for you. If it is, don't worry too much. These things get a whole lot easier. All right. Okay, so we've got 5 and 7 on the 6th string, and that's down and up. Then we move on to the 5th string and we play 4, 5, 7. Okay, down, up, down. And then we move on to the 4th string and we play the 4th fret, 6th fret, and 7th fret. Now you've just played, whether you know it or not, an A major scale. That is a major scale shape. You can play it anywhere up the neck. So if somebody says to you, play me a B major scale, well then you need to know these notes along here. Now I keep coming back to these things because it's important. So if somebody says play a B major scale, we put our middle finger, we always employ exactly the same fingering for this major scale. Now this 7th fret is a B. And whatever note we start on, that is the name of the scale. So this is a B major scale we're playing now. So it's the same pattern. We're going to play 7, 9. That's with the middle and little finger. Down and up with the right hand. Then we're going to go down, we're going to do exactly the same thing. We're going to use our index finger on the 6th fret. Yeah, and then we're going to play the 7th fret. This is all on the 5th string now. And then we're going to play the 9th fret. Okay, so we've got... Now we're moving down to the 4th string. We're going to play 6th fret, 4th string, 8th fret, and 9th fret. Now if you just spend some time going and doing this alternate picking with the right hand, it's just a great exercise. And it's even better if you can name the notes as you go, because ultimately we need to know what the notes are if you're at all interested in soloing and things like that. So that's very important. Yeah. So that's just a little exercise for those of you who are maybe getting started and haven't played scales before. It gives you great agility in the left hand, so when you come to playing all that, doing all this kind of thing, your fingers are going to be more accustomed to doing it rather than you just starting out trying to play those kind of things. Okay, so that's a little thing for the beginners that I wanted to put out there. Now I don't always think I'm putting enough out there for the intermediate to advanced players. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you this little rhythm for you intermediate players and advanced players, if you like. This is a beautiful rhythm that I've kind of come across, and it's just, so you got this. So what we're going to do is we're going to play it. We're going to play it with this. So you need a long A. Now if you're intermediate or advanced, you're going to know what a long A is, right? It's that long A shape with the pinky or the little finger up here on the 5th fret 1st string. So what we're going to do is that to start with. So we've got that steady 5th string, and there's a dampening going on here. That means this part of my hand is stopping the strings from sounding, yeah? So the thumb is playing the bass and the index is playing this 5th note here, 5th fret. And what we're going to do is, so that's the first thing you need to get down. And then what you're going to add to that is go. So we're playing like a shuffle, okay? So we're playing, just in case, now remember, as I say, this is intermediate or advanced, so you kind of won't need me to explain everything here. To some extent, you should be able to see what's happening, but I'll obviously tell you anything you need to know. So like I've said, that's the long A, and the ring finger is going to be going on to the 4th string, 4th fret. So we've got this shuffle basically in A, which is like a... So you got that going, but what it does is it throws in this. So we're going up onto the 5th string and we're playing 3 and 4. It might be a little, you might hear it a bit better if I don't dampen it, right? So we've got this. So there's nothing terribly difficult about that, right? But when we play this this 1st string on the 5th fret, it does become a little bit more difficult, because what we're then having to do is go. Yeah, so do you get the idea there, folks? I'm hoping that you can see, those of you who can do this kind of thing. It's a lovely little riff. Okay, so that's one for you to practice. Now, because that's in A, most people, if they're going to go to a D, will do one of these Robert Johnson typical shapes. But you see, if you can remember what we talked about when we talked about Cage a while back, Cage guitar system, which is just playing chords in different parts of the neck, then you'll know that if you take a C and you move it up 2 frets, you've effectively got a D. So you could go to that kind of D. So you go to there. And then an A here. Yeah. So that's a little bit of a different blues. Yeah, so it's the 5th fret 6th string. That's right. Okay, so that's just a little bit of something for you folks to practice, because I really do. I mean, even I find that a bit of a challenge myself, and I with this wrist at the moment, I can't actually do it justice. You know, I'm not on total form tonight. So that's a nice little challenge for you to have a look at, perhaps, yeah, which would be good. So you can mess around with all these things. Now, for you intermediate players out there, you really ought to be exploring all these different chord positions, similar to what Cage has talked about. You know, we've got this long A, we know we've got this A, we know we've got this A. there's all these A's all over the place, and if you explore those things, it really makes your playing so much more interesting than falling back on all the usual suspect chords like E and A and everything else. That's fine if you're a beginner. That's part of your journey. But as you transition through all of this, it's handy to be able to just doodle around with all these different shapes. It will really start making things click. And also it will give you a much better insight into all the notes you can use to solo when you're playing as well, you know, so it's kind of good from that point of view. So, you know, do a little bit of that where you're trying to play all these different positions, and you'll find it will really, really help you. We've talked about this, and there's a lot of lessons over on the Patreon page with lots of different blues, and you can borrow from all of those songs and have quite a lot of fun just in the process of doodling around and things like that. So I think it's time I played you another song, really, isn't it? Got in New York this morning, baby, about 9:30. Got in New York this morning, baby, about 9:30. Avalon's my hometown, it's always on my mind. I said Avalon's my hometown, it's always on my mind. The pretty mamas in Avalon sure don't waste the time. When a train left Avalon, throwing kisses, waving at me. When a train left Avalon, throwing kisses, waving at me. He said, come back, Daddy, stay right here with me. Avalon's a small town, no great big range. Avalon's my hometown, got no big range. But the pretty mamas in Avalon sure will spend your change. New York's a good town, but it's not for me. New York's a good town, but it's not for me. Going back to Avalon with the pretty mamas and me. Little bit of Avalon blues for you there, folks. So yeah, I'm just trying to do a little bit of playing for you this week, as well as a little bit of useful tips and things. And does anybody have any questions? Because, you know, maybe I could answer a few of those. I do always ask if anybody has any questions. You know, so that's another thing. I like to try and help you with your questions and things like that. So if you have any of those, feel free to post those, and I'll see if I can do something with that for you. Now then, I know there's a little tune that somebody likes around here. I can seem to remember. Thanks, Apache. Very kind. Are you still there, Pat? Well, seems like she's left us. And just when I was going to play you something as well. Ah, that's better. Anytime you choose, take off your shoes, rest your weary eyes, and catch up with the news. Our favorite book will be the perfect company, so relax. Oh, la-da-da-da-dee. Forget about your blues, you're doing fine. Leave your cares and worries far behind. Loosen up your tie, let the words creep by. Life and all its troubles start to get you down. Laugh and put your heels up and turn yourself around. Anytime you choose, kick off your shoes, rest your weary eyes, and catch up with the news. My favorite book will be the perfect company, so relax. Oh, la-da-da-da-dee. Life and all its troubles start to get you down. Laugh and put your heels up and turn yourself around. Anytime you choose, kick off your shoes, rest your weary eyes, and catch up with the news. Perfect book will be the perfect company, so relax. Just a little bit of jazz for you there. Not usually what I do, but that's becoming a little bit of a it's becoming a little bit of one of those songs that's featuring quite a lot, actually. Yeah, it seems to be getting played quite a lot, that one. So, how are we all doing there? Everything's gone quiet. Are we ready to have a little bit of a play along? Who fancies having a play along tonight? Because we're going to do one whether you like it or not. I always do one. So it's just a question of who's ready for one. Okay. So it would be nice if you're going to join me for this. Now, there's a few things that we can do. We've been looking at a few different things when we've been doing our play-alongs recently. We've been playing all kinds. We started out with Lead Belly, and then I think we played the Mavericks together. And I think we've also played, yeah, this is great. Everybody's kind of ready for it. Yeah, ready and waiting. Well, okay, so like I said, we started out with Lead Belly, and then we did the Mavericks, and then we did Chuck Berry. So I was thinking, is everybody up for doing Lead Belly again? I just want to remind you how it goes and things. I don't know if you can remember that, but I need your help on this one because it's ages since I played it. Are you ready? I'll tell you what to do, so don't worry. For those of you who weren't here way back when we started out playing Lead Belly, I'm going to show you, so you don't need to worry too much. And I'm hoping, yeah, there's a lot of people here who probably know the basics of it. So what we'll do is we'll run through that very quickly, and then we will have a little bash at it. How does that sound? Does that sound okay with you folks? I hope it does. Right now, I'm just going to get my words because you see, words are something that I don't always remember. There are so many songs I can play. There's hundreds of songs, but I can't remember hundreds of sets of lyrics. I can remember kind of a good bunch of them, but not all of them. So I hope you're getting tuned up at the moment. If you get yourselves tuned up, we'll be ready to go then. Okay. There we go. Let me just see here now what we've got. Yeah, okay. I think I've got what we need. Okay then. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be playing the chords A, E, and D7. Okay, so I'm hoping that you all know an A chord. Yeah, I'm fairly sure that you'll all know that A chord. And then the E chord, again, I'm sure you'll all know. But if you take off the ring finger, you're left with like an E7. And if you put your finger down on the 3rd fret 2nd string, you've got an even better E7. So any of those will do, depending on what level you're at. You can either play the E7 like that, or the E7 like that. Now D7 is just playing the 2nd string on the 1st fret and the 1st and 3rd strings on the 2nd fret. And then we just play the bottom 4 strings for that D7. Okay, so the song, what we'll do is I'll show you it once round, and then I need to have you there playing with me because I can hear you guys coming through the ether encouraging me, and it helps me stay on track. So I must hear you. You must really all go for it now. There's no time for... So the first chord is an A. So we have E7 or E. Stay on the E. Back to the A. Stay on the A. To the D7, E7, and back to A. Okay, so for the beginners out there who will want to help, I know there's a lot of you out there who are going to be doing this some justice, all you intermediate players. Okay, so for the beginners, you just maybe do a little bit of A, E, stay on that E, to A, and the A again, D7, E7 if you can, or an E, and an A. Okay, so are we all sorted on that? Let me see a few yeses up here that we're all good. Well, actually, I don't want you typing because you're trying to play the guitar. I'm going to take it that you're good to go on this, okay? So let's get started then. What we'll do is we'll go round once together, and then the second time I'll come in with the singing. Okay, so yes, Colleen and Patrice and River Ray and Jeff. I know, Jeff, this is easy for the likes of some of you folks out there. You're quite accomplished players. But it's just the fun of us all playing together, and it's a wonderful thing for us to be able to do. How do I type an E7? I don't know about typing, but Steve, essentially just play an E, a standard E, and if you just want to play a basic E7, then just take off that ring finger. that'll be fine. Hope that answers your question. And Patricia, you can hum along, or maybe you need a kazoo. Yeah, that would be good. For those people who don't play, you need a kazoo. And then you'll be able to blow away until your heart's content. All right, so are we ready? After 4, we're going to not go too quickly. It's going to go like this. That's good. I can hear you. Well done. Here we go. Irene, good night. Irene, good night. Good night, Irene. Good night, Irene. I get you in my dreams. Right, a little bit quicker now. Sometimes I live in the country. Sometimes I live in the town. Sometimes I have a great notion to jump in the river and drown. All together, Irene, good night. Irene, good night. Good night, Irene. Good night, Irene. I get you in my dreams. Stop rambling and stop gambling. Stop staying out late at night. Go home to your wife and family. Stay by the fireside bright. All together now. Irene, good night. Irene, good night. Good night, Irene. Good night, Irene. I get you in my dreams. Bit quicker now. Irene, good night. Irene, good night. Good night, Irene. Good night, Irene. I get you in my dreams. One more time. Irene. Oh, we're frozen, we're frozen, we're frozen, we're frozen, we're frozen. Whoa, I don't know what's happening there, folks. Hold on with me, bear with me, folks. I need you to bear with me now. Whoa. Don't know what's happening there. We all got frozen out there. We all got frozen out. I'm very, very sorry about that, folks. That went very, 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 very quickly. Are we back? I'm back. Yes, I am back, definitely. So that was really well done, apart from getting frozen out, wasn't it? It was really, really good to hear you all having a bash at that. Really, really well done. And don't forget, you can always make suggestions for what we'll do as a play along, okay? So, unfortunately, a lot of things are kind of running short of power my end and everything else, which isn't very good, I have to say. But the show, we've managed to kind of get through here, so we're okay. So what I'd like to do one more time is have another play along. Make the most of this, and this will be our last play along for tonight. Okay, so it's going to be an A chord, just play an A chord, or you can play a little shuffle with me. And an E. Okay, so can some of you, who's going to join me for this one? I'd like to see quite a lot of yeses up there now, because I think this is really, really worth us having a little go at. It'd be really nice. So I hope you're going to join me. It's just an A chord and an E chord. Okay, so there's nothing too difficult going on here. It's very, very, very straightforward. Okay, and we'll see if we've got time to do a few other things. Okay, so now we're going to do an A chord and we're going to do an E chord. Now this is how it goes. It goes like this. So it's a long A. That's your E chord. I thought you'd be up for this, Leo. Back to A. Alright, here we go now. It was a teenage wedding and the old folks wished them well. You could see that Pierre did truly love the man. E. Great stuff. And now the young Michelle Madame rang the chapel bell. Great stuff. C'est la vie, say the old folks. Goes to show you never back to A. Oh yeah, they finished up an apartment with a 2-room Rubik sale. That's lovely playing, folks. Keep it going till the rail was crammed with TV dinners and ginger ale. E. But when Pierre found work, the little money coming worked out well. Going to A, they la vie, say the old folks. Goes to show now you can tell. Now you keep it going for me, guys, alright? Well done. And again. E. E. We're on the E there, okay? We're coming to the A soon. A. Well done, excellent. They had a hot 5 phone, oh boy, did they let it blast. 700 little records, all rock and rhythm and jazz. It was there that Pierre was wedded to the mademoiselle. C'est la vie, say the old folks. Goes to show you never can tell. They bought a souped up jitney, was a cherry red 53. And drove it down to Orleans to celebrate their anniversary. It was there that Pierre was wedded to the mademoiselle. Back to A in a second, say la vie, say the old folks. It goes to show you never can. A. One more solo, hold the A, folks. Excellent. Keep the A. E. Beautiful. E. Beautiful stuff, guys. A. Excellent stuff. They had a teenage wedding and the old folks wished them well. You could see that Pierre did truly love the mademoiselle. And now the young Michelle Madame rang the chapel bell. C'est la vie, was fantastic. Lovely stuff. I got the real vibe that everybody was kind of going with it there. Really, really nicely. Massively impressed. Love it, folks. Really, really nice. Well, do you know what? Time has beaten us again. I'm not very glad about that, but it kind of has. Now, just before I do finish, and I would like to say that I will be saying a few farewells in a moment. Now, just to keep you all in the loop and things like that, we must keep on this play together and things like that. Now, when I come back next with the next show, we're going to get back to Name That Tune, because I know that's another thing that everybody enjoys doing as well. We just haven't got the time for it this week, because there's one more thing I want to look at before we finish off. And essentially, just to let you know, it does make your fingers ache, doesn't it, Jeff? For sure. Well, you're very welcome, Sal. So now, for those of you who aren't sure, I've spent the last week putting together a tutorial on Leila by Eric Clapton. It's probably the track from the Unplugged album that people want to play most. And so I've finally got round to doing the lesson. It's a two-part lesson. Part 1 is now available on Patreon, so you can watch that there. Part 2 is going to be available from tomorrow on Patreon, which is the bit everybody wants to learn, which is the kind of... kind of stuff, yeah. So that's in part 2, but part 1's available. And I should just stress the point that it's very, very important. Yeah, we started at 6 tonight, Petula, that you learn the rhythm. It's going to help you tremendously with the solo, okay? So I hope you take the time to look and don't just think, oh, it's only the solo I want to learn. You really need to get good with this arrangement, and it will stand you in such good stead for the solo. You've been running, hiding much too long. You know it's just your foolish pride, Leila. You got me on my knees, Leila. I'm begging, darling, please, Leila. Darling, won't you ease my worried mind? Tried to give you consolation when your old man let you down. Like a fool, I fell in love with you. You turned my whole world upside down, Leila. You got me on my knees, Leila. I'm begging, darling, please, Leila. Darling, won't you ease my worried mind? Make the best of the situation before I finally go insane. Please don't say we'll never find a way. Tell me all my love's in vain, Leila. You got me on my knees, Leila. I'm begging, darling, please, Leila. Darling, won't you ease my worried mind? Leila, you got me on my knees, Leila. I'm begging, darling, please, Leila. Darling, won't you ease my worried mind? And then we have the old... rusty. Well, you get the idea, okay? So that's all coming your way over the weekend for those of you who are over at Patreon. So you should have a whole load of fun with that. I certainly have. And it's a wonderful one to get down, obviously. It's great. I know a lot of you probably want to play the solo and things like that, which is great. You know, it really is an absolute work of art by Eric Clapton. That he plays it absolutely beautifully. So don't hesitate. It's going to be the both parts of the tutorial, as I say, will be on Patreon over the weekend. Part 1 is available now over there, and part 2 will be available tomorrow. So I'm really hoping you get something out of this. If the preview of the video is anything to go by, I think it's going to go down very well. Out of every video I've done so far, it's outperformed everything. It's got like kind of, you know, close on 9,000 views in a couple of days, which is absolutely amazing. I can remember when I started out on YouTube about 7 years ago, and I was thinking, if one of my videos gets 10,000 views in a year, I'll be really happy. And now that kind of thing is close on happening in 2 or 3 days. So it really is quite incredible how far things have come. And that's all thanks to you, you know, for watching my videos and liking the videos. And I really do appreciate your support, which is why I kind of do the Joe Show and things like that, to try and help you a little bit more with some, you know, more things that you might ask me, like when we're live and things like that. So I just want to try and help you and inspire you and help you to carry on playing guitar. So in those dark moments, like I said earlier, when you feel you're not making progress and everything else, stick with it. It's a wonderful, wonderful thing. And it's got me through some of the toughest times I've ever had to deal with in my life. Just, you might think that sounds a bit crazy, but just to be able to have my guitar and pick it up, take my mind off things for a little while has been a tremendous medicine, if you like, and it helps in many, many ways. So never give up on the dream. Enjoy the journey. You can do all of this stuff I'm doing. It's not, you know, no magic involved. You can certainly do it all yourself with a little bit of practice and persistence. It can all be achieved. So I'd just like to thank you all very much indeed for joining me tonight. It's been wonderful to have your company. And so now it's time to say a few hellos and goodbyes to everybody who's taken the time to join me for the show tonight. So if you'd like me to say a little bit of a hello and goodbye, then now's the time to say hello to me. So Petula, thank you for watching. Pete Russ, thank you. If you're not already over on Patreon, can I please ask you to take the time to just go over there. There's a link down below the video and check it out. You'd be helping me out tremendously. Continue doing what I do, which is the lessons over on YouTube and these live shows. So if you're not already over there, please take the time to have a look. For the price of a cup of coffee, you can be helping me do so much more, and at the same time getting so much material that, you know, it's going to keep you busy for a very long time. So Patrice, thank you for joining us, okay? It's going to be 6 o'clock every week from now on, so you can forget all about. So Bolton Dave, thank you very much. Dylan, thank you. Jeff, Frozen, sorry to hear that. Leo, thank you very much for your support. Nigel, I will do my best to keep up the work for sure, and thank you for joining me. Stuart Rushton, thank you very much indeed. Terry Cook, thanks for being here. Alex Richardson, Erin, thank you very much indeed. You have a good weekend too. Julie, thanks ever so much for tuning in as usual. You're very welcome, Erin. And Ring of Fire, it's great to see you again. Jack Bolger, you're very, very welcome, Jack. Patricia, thank you very much indeed. Petulia, you're very welcome. Paul, thank you very much, Paul. Oh, it seems like it's frozen again, is it? Let's have a look. I'm so sorry I'm so sorry. And it freezes where your face looks dreadful where it freezes. That's really, really bad, isn't it? Off to Leila. Willem, I'm very pleased to hear that. Okay, Sal, you're very, very welcome. Patrice, River, Steve, and Patrice. So I think I've covered most of you there, folks. Ernie, wonderful to see you. I'm glad you could make it. I'm really looking forward to catching up with you on Monday. And I don't know if there's anybody else that I haven't mentioned yet. I think Michael Crawley, yeah. Thank you, Michael, for joining us tonight. Please spread the word, by the way, folks. The more people we can have along, the more people I can help. And that will make me tremendously happy. So if you can think of anybody who would enjoy the show, then please spread the word on social media, because the more the merrier, essentially. So thanks very much indeed, everybody. I look forward to seeing you next week, 6 o'clock. I'll be back with another show. In the meantime, take care of yourself, be safe, have a wonderful weekend, and don't forget to practice. And as Julie's just mentioned, I've got a couple of slots for anybody who's wanting a private lesson. The only day I have available is a Monday. So if you're interested in that, it's £40 for 30 minutes. I could squeeze you in for a little lesson if you'd like a little bit of an assessment, or you'd like help with some playing or something like that. Then I'd be only too happy to help you. You can contact me via email, or you can contact me in a message. I always get back to all the correspondence I can. Hey Katie, great to see you. I didn't see you were there with us tonight, but it's wonderful to know that you were. Thanks for joining us, Katie, and thank you for going over and signing up to Patreon. That's very much appreciated. Okay then, folks, take care. Have a wonderful weekend. Thanks for joining me. I'll see you all again soon. All the best.